Hello, it's Son here with a Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Tuesday, so that means it's Tunisian Tuesday. So we are going to be doing a Tunisian crochet project. And for those of you that have been following me, you can see we have a different background. I'm actually in a different filming space now. And I have this desk, and it's not the nicest desk. So the surface of it is, it's black and it's kind of beat up, and so I thought I don't really want to show that. I think I might get some contact paper or something to put on top of it to make it look a little prettier. So we're going to use a towel right now until I can figure that out, because I just got into this space. We've been working on it, and so this is the first video that I am shooting in the space, so we'll see how it goes. I do have the window open because this room can get toasty. It only has one vent, and the neighbor is doing something outside, so maybe leaf blowing, weed whacking, I don't know. So if you hear that, that's what it is. But we're going to be making a Tunisian dishcloth, and I've already gotten started on it here, and I'm using that stitch that I featured last week. I just thought it would make a beautiful dishcloth here. So it is almost done, and this is going to be for donation. I am, as I said before, I run a knit crochet group, and someone from our church is actually hosting a carnival to support veterans, and they want to have a sale table, like a craft sale table, and they want our group to make kitchen type items, things to sell, and they have sold like crocheted dishcloths and scrubbies and things like that in the past, and they're pretty popular, so they asked for those type of items. So this is going to go to that sale. So I am going to show you how I did that. So to get started, I am using my H hook or 5mm hook, and I'm just using a regular crochet hook. You could use a Tunisian hook, and I just have a rubber band at the end. And what you're going to need to do is you want to use like a cotton yarn, and you're going to want to chain 43. So I have 43 chains here, and I do, with this stitch, I prefer it with a smaller hook and thicker yarn, if that makes sense. So this is a number 4 worsted weight yarn. I don't know the brand of it, but it's cotton. And so what you're going to do for row 1 is we're just going to pull up loops in the second chain from our hook, working in the back bump. I prefer to work in the back bump. And we're just going to pull up chains or stitches all the way across, working in the back bump of our chains. So at the end of row 1, and this is the first part. So with Tunisian crochet, it's always worked in 2 parts. Each row is worked in 2 parts. So you have your forward pass, so this is the forward pass, and then you have your return pass. So right now we're putting the stitches on, and then the second part you're going to take the stitches off. Okay, so I have my 43 loops on my hook. So to work these off, so this is the second part of row 1, this is the return pass. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through 1 loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 for the rest of the row. And then row 1 will be done. So row 1 is our setup row. Okay, so here is row 1 complete. So let's work row 2. Rows 2 and 3 are going to be the same. So we're going to work Tunisian purl all the way across, because the stitch that I'm using for this project is a curler. A lot of Tunisian crochet projects tend to curl, and this one is no exception. And so if you add some purl stitches, that can kind of help with the curl. So you have your yarn in front, and if you've never done Tunisian crochet, I have a whole playlist that goes over the basics to getting started, so I can certainly link that for you in the description box. And I have a whole bunch of other projects in that playlist as well. So we are just working Tunisian purls. So if you're a knitter, this will be familiar to you, having the yarn in front, then inserting the hook in that stitch, and then yarning over. So what it does is it creates little purls, and these purl stitches really help with the curling. I don't know if it's going to eliminate it completely, but it's a dishcloth, so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to block my dishcloth when it's done, and that should really also help with the curling. I mean, you don't necessarily have to block a dishcloth because, you know, it's a dishcloth and you're going to be using it for cleaning, but since I want to sell it, you know, for a charity, I want to make it look as nice as it possibly can. So I think it's going to be a really nice stitch pattern for cleaning because it's got like a lot of texture on it. So for scrubbing and things like that, I think it will be a really nice dishcloth for that. And I do love Tunisian crochet for kitchen type items because you use them a lot and they hold up really, really well. The stitches tend to be very sturdy, and I just find them to be really nice for cleaning stuff. So I'm going to keep going and I will meet you back. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row 2. I have one more stitch to work. So I like to work a Tunisian knit stitch. So if you look at the end here, it looks like a chain. So you're going to insert your hook into the middle of that chain and bring up 2 loops. So that's that knit stitch. And we're going to yarn over and pull through. And so now we have our 43 loops back on our hook. So then you're going to do the same thing like you did for row 1, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. And then row 3 is a repeat of row 2. So you are just going to repeat row 2 and then we'll get started on the stitch pattern, the fun part. So this is kind of like the border for the dishcloth, and also to help it with the curling situation. So I will meet you back at the end of row 3. Okay, so I finished up row 3 here. So let's begin row 4. So this is going to be the start of our repeat. So our first 2 stitches, we're going to work Tunisian purl stitches. And if you're unsure how to count the rows, if you look on the side here, it looks like the tops of regular crochet stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. So now we are on row 4. So we're going to work 2 Tunisian purl stitches. Okay, and now we're going to start with the stitch pattern here. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. We're going to work 3 Tunisian simple stitches. So in that first bar, and we're going to do 3 of them. Okay, so these are our border stitches, these first 3, and now we have 4 stitches. So that yarn over that we did, we're going to pull over those 3 stitches over the hook like that, and it's going to wrap around like that. Now we're going to work a Tunisian simple, and now we're going to repeat. We're going to yarn over and we're going to work 3 Tunisian simple stitches, and we're going to take that yarn over and you just grab it with your fingers, your thumb and index finger, and pull it over, and we're repeating that across. Okay, so now we have 5 stitches left. So to finish up the first part of row 4 here, we are going to work 2 Tunisian simple stitches. And now we have 3 stitches left. So we're going to work 2 Tunisian purl stitches. And then in that last stitch, we're working that knit stitch. Looks like a chain at the end. And now we have the first half of row 4 done. So we're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. to complete row 4 here. Okay, so here is row 4 complete. So let's do row 5, and this is going to be a 2-row repeat, this stitch pattern for this dishcloth. Okay, so now we're going to work 2 Tunisian knit stitches like we did before. So those are our border stitches. And then in the next 2 stitches, we're going to work 2 Tunisian simple. So we have 2 Tunisian simple. Now we're going to do our yarn over and work 3 Tunisian simple stitches. And now we're going to take that yarn over and pull it over our hook. And now we're going to start the repeat. We're going to work Tunisian simple, yarn over, and work 3 Tunisian simple stitches. And take that yarn over and pull it over our hook. And we're going to repeat this all the way across, and then you will have 3 stitches left. You're going to work 2 Tunisian purl stitches and then work that knit stitch. So for the repeat of, and then you'll work your return pass like normal, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. So for the repeat for this pattern is you're going to be repeating rows 4 and 5 for however long you want your dishcloth. I've actually did it, so here's my actual dishcloth here. So I repeated rows 4 and 5, and you're going to want to end on a row 4. So I have worked 24 rows, and this last row is a row 4, and then you're going to work your remaining rows to complete this project. So what we're going to do is we are going to repeat row 2. We're going to work Tunisian purl all the way across. So this is row 25 for me. So I have my yarn over in front and working Tunisian purl, and I'm just going to be Tunisian purling all the way across. And again, these purl stitches, there are border stitches and also hopefully help with our curling situation, because it is such a beautiful stitch pattern, but she's a curler. So I'm going to work Tunisian purl for row 25. I'm also going to do another row of Tunisian purl for row 26, and then we're going to start working on our bind off row for our final row. So I'm going to go work rows 25 and 26, and then I will meet you back at the end of row 26. Okay, so I've worked my 2 rows of purl. So let's finish this guy off. So we're going to do a bind off row. So what we're going to do is we're just going to work in Tunisian simple, and then it's like you're working a slip stitch in regular crochet. So I've got my hook in that stitch, my yarn over, and we're just going to pull through those two stitches to bind off. And you do that across, and we're working in Tunisian simple, and then in my last stitch I'm going to bind off in the Tunisian knit stitch. And when you're binding off, you want to make sure that you have a little bit of a relaxed hand, because you can get a little tight, so that can affect your tension a little bit. So you obviously don't want the stitches to be too loose, but you just want to have that happy medium with your tension there. Okay, so I'm almost at the end here. So our last stitch, we're just working that knit stitch inserting the hook like a knit stitch, and then we're going to bind that guy off. And then what you can do is cut your yarn, because my dishcloth is done, or almost done. So there we go. So of course you're going to need to weave in your ends, and as I said before, I'm going to give this a block because it's still curling a little bit, but as I said before, it is a dishcloth. It doesn't really matter, but because I want to have this for sale, I want to make it as pretty as I can. So I'm definitely going to block it, and I think it'll block really well because it is 100% cotton, and cotton tends to block really well. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.